You can survive for weeks without food. You can also last days without water. But the human body reaches a hard limit after just 2 minutes without air. Every single breath rushes through your mouth and down the windpipe, splitting into the right and left bronchi. From there, the air travels through thousands of branching tubes that grow narrower with every turn. At the very end of this line are the alveoli, millions of microscopic air sacs. These sacs are the only place in the entire respiratory system where oxygen actually enters the body. Lungs do not absorb air like a sponge. Instead, they rely on a precise physical equation that uses pressure to force gas molecules across a microscopic barrier into your bloodstream. This reliance on physics rather than biological muscle means the system is subject to mechanical wear. Human lung function typically peaks in the 20s, meaning our biological clock begins ticking the moment our physical prime ends. The exchange begins at the alveolar wall. Deoxygenated blood, heavy with carbon dioxide, arrives from the heart, while the air sacs are pressurized with a fresh supply of oxygen. To make these gases swap places, the body exploits the first variable in the respiratory equation, partial pressure gradients. Diffusion dictates that gas moves from higher to lower pressure. In the lungs, high oxygen pressure forces molecules into the blood. Your airways dilate or constrict to maintain the steady flow. But at high altitude, lower atmospheric pressure shrinks this gradient and diffusion stalls. When the pressure gradient disappears, the blood leaves the lungs starved of oxygen. This triggers a cascading failure as your organs lose the fuel required to function. The second variable in the equation is membrane thickness. The air-blood barrier is only 2 cells thick, allowing oxygen to pass almost instantly. However, diseases like pneumonia can flood this space with fluid. This physically thickens the barrier, creating an impenetrable wall that traps oxygen inside the lung. And the final variable is surface area. Gas exchange is limited by total surface contact. To sustain life, lungs use millions of alveoli to create a massive contact zone for the blood. When the gradient is steep, the membrane is thin, and the surface area is high, the machine returns fully oxygenated blood to the heart. As we age, the mechanics of the machine begin to fail. By our 30s, lung tissue loses its elasticity, and the muscles that power our breathing start to weaken. Natural aging causes many small alveoli to merge into a few larger, flabby sacs. This merger is catastrophic for the physics of breathing because it drastically reduces the total surface area available for gas exchange. While aging is gradual, external factors like pollution and smoking act as an accelerated assault on these physical variables. Tobacco smoke destroys protective airway hairs, traveling deep into the lungs to directly dissolve alveolar walls. This dual failure permanently destroys surface area and builds thick, rigid scar tissue, leaving less space for exchange and a membrane too thick for oxygen to cross. This mechanical destruction is why smoking is more lethal than HIV, alcohol, and drugs combined. It doesn't just damage an organ, it dismantles the fundamental physics required to breathe. To protect us, the body maintains a high functional reserve of extra lung capacity. This reserve means you can suffer massive, irreversible structural damage to your alveoli before you ever feel short of breath. Because destroyed alveolar tissue cannot regenerate, every lost millimeter of surface area is a permanent loss. By preventing infections, maintaining muscle strength, and avoiding toxins are the only ways to defend the variables in this equation. These actions are the physical safeguards for every remaining breath you have left.